Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Nick Drinks. I'm your host, Nick Britsky, and we have a special treat for you. Every time is a special treat.
Nick Drinks.
But today is especially special because I have my friend Sean, and he is actually the co-founder of Maneful, and they make this lovely set of cocktail recipes right here. But I think it's a little bit of a spin on the typical kind of recipe book. They're actually set up in cards. So Sean, I'm going to introduce you today. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So talk a little bit about like what exactly these cards are, because they're a selection of how many different recipes in this book?
So there's 52 different cocktail recipes, and they come from a whole bunch of different types of base spirits. So you have rye, bourbons, vodkas, rums. We tried to get kind of an even spread along all the different base spirits for the 52 recipes.
Okay.
So it gives you an opportunity to try a whole bunch of different things.
So, and what was kind of the impetus for this? Was this like something that you were, you kind of came from your own struggles with making cocktails, or was it like a riff on something you were doing? Talk about how that started.
Yeah, it came basically from frustration with cocktail recipe books.
Okay.
So I'm an avid home bartender. I've been doing it for over a decade now, and I've read a lot of cocktail recipe books, and it always frustrated me that, well, first off, the format's not that great for actually making drinks at home. It's nice to browse through, but if you're trying to, get people to pick what they want to drink, handing them over the book and waiting for them to select it is kind of a pain. It's not the way that people actually host. And also, I realized that I wasn't really keeping track of what I had tried and what I hadn't tried because there's no really good way to sort those cocktail recipe books. And I think the biggest thing is that when I first started out especially, there were cocktails and I had no idea whether or not I was actually going to like them until I made them. And so we really wanted to make these cards give a description of what the drink tastes like before you make it, so you can understand whether or not you're going to enjoy it.
So, and this is something I've brought up a lot, is like one thing that drives bartenders absolutely crazy is when you go up to them, they say, "What do you want?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't know, make me whatever." And that is like the worst thing you can do. So learning some of these little like descriptors that are on here is absolutely great. So like I'm actually going to make the Black Manhattan, and it says modern, robust, and boozy. So if you like this drink, that's a great thing. You can go up to a bartender and say, "Hey, I love a Black Manhattan, modern, robust, and boozy. What else can you make? What can you riff on?" So that's great info that you have on these little cards.
Yeah, and we also have up in the upper right-hand corner of all the cards, we've identified, how refreshing, how potent, how sweet, and how bitter each of the cocktails are. And so we've got, for every single one of these, we identify that. And so that's another way, taking a look at those flavor profiles to see, if you like this, then you might like something else that's also, refreshing, potent, bitter, etc.
Well, very cool. So this is absolutely great. We're putting you on just in time so you can go out and buy these for yourself, buy these for Christmas gifts. We're going to try to get this up before Black Friday. Sean, talk about where can you buy these?
So you can buy these on our website, which is maneful.com, Maneful. And we have this as well as our barware kits. So we have two different types of barware kits, an essential barware kit and a master barware kit. And
Nice.
So the essentials give you, everything, all the essentials that you need. And the master kit builds off of that. And so it's everything that's included with the essentials, plus some specific things for making stirred cocktails.
This is great because people have asked me all the time, like, what do I need to start with? And so I'll list out all the things they need to buy. And for the most part, it's tough to buy those things from one store. Certainly you can try to hit up like a Cocktail Kingdom or something like that. But to have a kit that's all pre-put together is like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and it is tough to find everything at one store. And I will say too, one thing that frustrates me with a lot of these kits out there is they just load it with unnecessary stuff, right? And so we really focused on, it's everything that you need and it's nothing that you don't. So it is a very well curated collection.
That's cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I wanted to make a cocktail. So since I came into the bar about 20 minutes ago, I have like zero prep time for this. So I actually grabbed the Black Manhattan, and this is rye, amaro, and bitters. So
Yes.
You had recommended a Verna. I grabbed some of the Bruno. We
Nice.
grabbed some Dillon's rye. We got a mixing glass, and then it actually says orange and Angostura bitters, right? So
Yes.
talk about where you got this recipe from. Was this something you found in a book? Was this like an IBA recipe? Where did you get it from?
This is one of the ones that we found in a book. And so a lot of these recipes that you're going to find, it's a lot of classic cocktails. And then there's some, what people call modern classics or more contemporary cocktails as well. But it's a combination of recipe books and then testing out all the various recipes. So there's a number of them where, we got recipes from the recipe books, but we tried out a different variations and landed on the one that worked best for us.
And this one was one you kind of pulled straight from a book somewhere, you said?
Yes, and I can't remember exactly which one, but.
So that goes to something interesting. Can you like trademark recipes? Are you gonna have someone like chasing you down saying like, that's my cocktail?
You cannot trademark recipes in the common sense of it. You cannot trademark it. You can trademark the way that you describe the recipe, right? So if there's an entire paragraph talking about this is how you do it, and this is how you add all the ingredients, and this is the measurement, you can do that. But the volumes of ingredients that are needed for each, that's not trademarked.
I should mention you have a little law background too, don't you?
I do, yeah. I'm a recovering attorney.
That's great. So I have neglected to grab myself a glass, which is pretty fantastic. Yeah, just like a rocks glass. My assistant's gonna grab me a glass. Very cool. So talk about, you said that you had trouble keeping track of drinks that you've had and you haven't had. How would you like divide the cards up? Like talk about how you would use the deck of cards, if you will, for that.
Yeah, so there's a few different ways that you can do it. One is just dividing them up, like you said. So you can actually order them in the order that you want to test them out in. You can separate out the ones that you've tried. The other thing too is that each of the cards, we have an area on the back where you can keep notes. And so if there's something that you particularly liked about it, or maybe you want to do a variation on the recipe, like you decided that this is actually a little bit too boozy, I'm going to cut back on the rye, I'm going to do a little bit of more Amaro. You can keep notes on those things so that the next time you revisit the card, you have that available.
So I'm almost worried because these are so smooth and shiny. Could you write on here? Oh, you literally have notes on here. Would you do it in like a erasable pen, or would you go like super crazy and do a permanent?
Yeah, so you could either do permanent or you could do more of like an erasable pen.
Nice. All right, we got our cocktail here. I'm just going to let you know that Sean did recommend the proper glass right here, kind of like a martini glass. I just grabbed a rocks glass because I was in a hurry. Oh, brown and bitter and boozy. That's what I love right there. That is delicious. Yeah. So that's the Black Manhattan. So then you've color coded these. We have all the various colors here, depending on kind of which spirit you have. Talk about independent. What falls into the independent category?
So the independent are kind of the random spirits that don't really fall into the major categories. So it's the catch-all. Mm-hmm. And so we included things. I think the one that you flashed there might have been cachaça.
Cachaça, yep.
Yeah, on it. So it's the things where you usually only see those types of liquors in one or two cocktails, right? It's not enough to form its own category, but it's those kind of unique things. A lot of them are regional type liquors. I think actually another one that we have in there is Pimm's, for a Pimm's cup, mm-hmm. right? So it doesn't fall into the main categories of like a gin or a brandy or a rye or anything like that. And so we've classified those just as independents because there's some really great cocktails that we still wanted to include in the deck. Didn't know where to put those.
And then last question, why 52 cards? Just because that's what's in a deck?
No, 52 just seemed like the right number. It was, not too many, not too few. I know when I first started making cocktails, I got some like the Mr. Boston cocktail guide, which I don't know how many cocktail recipes it has in it, like 300 or something like that. And one of the things that we were frustrated by is that there's just so many recipes. And in some cases, there's multiple variations of the same cocktail recipe. And so one of the things that we go for with this product is curation, right? So we want to give you enough options so that you can make sure that you find something that you like, but not too many options that it overwhelms you and you just don't know where to start.
All right, give me one more shout out. Where can you find the product?
You can find it at our website, maneful.com. It's MANEFUL. And you can also follow us at Maneful Co, MANEFUL CO, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, basically everywhere.
Perfect. And you can find the cards, you can find the bartending kits, you can find the master kit. Everything can be found there. Sean, thanks you so much. Cheers to you. And everyone out there, thank you so much for following us. You can find more of us at nickdrinks.com, youtube.com/nickdrinks, and nickdrinks.com, all spelled out on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks so much. Cheers till next time.